All right. ARD, we are live talking about Manchester United's transfer saga this summer. How are we feeling, sir? Not a lot doing. Mbeumo Dragon.
How we doing, sir? Absolutely, like you said, United has a lot of work to do. The transfer window is very much open. We're almost at the end of June, and United have one player in the door. Second player moving along. He's going to be playing on the opposite side of Cunha. Mbeumo? How are we saying this name, sir? It's not Mbeumo. Mbeumo, I believe. We're going to get Brian's name done. Eventually, we're working on it. When we
It's
do,
Mbeumo.
Mbeumo.
I think it's Mbeumo.
We're gonna figure it out. It's he's got all the talents to make it at Manchester United. I'm very, very excited about the signing. I wish it was a little faster. And it seems like we're hitting their asking price to begin with anyway. We'll find out the details in the coming days. I think it's very close to getting to here we go. But I'm excited about it. But we got a lot of work to do on the sales side and not much movement there. How are we feeling about all the dead wood that ain't being chopped at the moment?
I mean, my concern is coming off 15th, you got to set the tone. And United just are lagging here a little bit. You're burning weeks in a transfer window where you got to make deals. Look, Club World Cup is happening. That's something where, anytime there's a summer competition, things are usually slower, but the players United are linked to aren't playing in it. And I just feel like, when it comes to Mbeumo, or however we're going to pronounce it, when we sign him, we're going to get his name down pat. That's kind of the MO here at the podcast. But
not until here we go.
At the end of the day, United we got Cunha. That was a great deal. Now we need Mbeumo. And then we need to be looking for a striker, right back. We need right wing back, and then we need CDM. So United, just too many players to fill, not enough time, and leaving it late. As a fan, historically, we always leave it late, and we don't get players in before preseason. And then why are we doing this over and over again? I just feel like INEOS should have already learned from last summer. We left some deals late there, and I just think we need to be a sense of urgency for how bad we finish the season and how much this manager needs to be backed. It's just not lining up for me.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of time left in the window, but it's all about getting players back. Hopefully, they're not going to, most of them, any new signings are not going to come in by when? The 7th, when they get back at Carrington, at least the first group of players that weren't involved in any kind of competition this summer. But you have until the end of August, but we want players available in advance, well advance of the EPL start, in mid-August. So it's about getting players in. It's about also getting players out the door. That's the big thing. These first two signings, super exciting, Premier League proven, to the top attacking talent outside of any of our rivals. But at the same time, we have so many positions to fill. Like you said, we need a goalie. We need a striker, at least one striker, if not two. And it would be great to have a couple fullbacks, probably a new right wing back. But that all seems like way too much to ask for, especially with the sales that you're doing. Is that they're complicated. We have players on big wages. I think Antony will move. If we could foist Sancho, that'd be terrific. But Rashford's going to be really difficult, especially if we want to get a PSR boost. And we didn't do ourselves any favors with how we've handled Garnacho. So that would be crazy to make that into a forced deal the same way the other three are. And I think United, if they freeze them out of summer, out of the tour, that's I don't think they need to go that far. But it seems like Ruben Amorim, he's a stubborn bastard, sir, as we seem to have learned over these last, 8 months.
Definitely stubborn, Ruben. He likes to, he doesn't like getting rid of Garnacho as well. That's just, look, he deserves it. We should probably talk about that, the jersey, controversy this week. I mean, what is going on with Manchester United and just players falling out with the coach?
It's a track record. It's a trend. I mean, how many players has it been now? What, back to Paul Pogba and just players having issues with Mourinho.
Let's go to Erik Ten Hag. We had Cristiano Ronaldo. He's no good.
Ronaldo.
Get him out.
Garnacho.
Last 20 goal scorer at Manchester United, we kicked him out. Replace him with Wout Weghorst.
He kicked himself out. Antony, he got frozen out. Sancho got frozen out. Remember, he had 3 months off. That was crazy. Rashford didn't want to play for Ruben Amorim as soon as he came in, even though he scored the first goal under the manager.
That was the Rashford going to the Knicks game and not even trying under Amorim. They fell out so quick. Garnacho fell out too. And so I am a fan of Garnacho. If you check out our newsletter.
Pod's aware.
We said
the Pod's aware. We know you're a big Garna guy. I get it. He's likable.
But if you check out our newsletter, which you can, get in the QR code in the bottom there, we kind of broke down Garnacho's XG and X assists he's added over the last 2 seasons, which is over 20, by the way. And we're going to miss that. And he's young and he didn't play a lot, actually. If you look at how much he actually played, that's like very efficient from an attacking perspective, and how young he is. And the fact we're not going to get a lot of money because of the fallout and the jersey and all the drama. It's one of those where, there's going to be a hole in the attacking ranks. Obviously, Mbeumo is going to come in. He did much better than Garnacho, but played a lot more. Cunha as well. And, can these guys step up at United? I just feel like letting a young talent like that go is going to be a mistake. But if he has so many problems with Erik ten Hag, multiple issues with Erik ten Hag, multiple issues with Ruben Amorim, obviously his brother or his cousin that's tweeting on Instagram. So, I guess you got to get rid of him. But for me, it's just such a good young talent. If you're not going to get paid money, that's where the public fallouts at United are out of control, because they hurt the sell-on price. And at the end of the day, every fan can agree that we want to sell these players at the right market value, and having public drama hurts that.
No, and we seem to be unable and incapable of avoiding drama and fallout with players when we're trying to sell them and hopefully recoup some money. I totally agree. Garnacho, these 2 players that we're bringing in, great talent. I'm super pumped on both of them. But they're both, entering the prime of their career, right? 25 going on 26 for their position. That's exactly when they should be peaking. He is such a diamond in the rough. He's been the 3rd most productive attacking player on Manchester United over the last couple seasons. And you are replacing that, but it's like it feels a little bit forced given that you are selling or foisting 3 other attackers in foisting. They're all foist. Sancho, Rashford, are all attackers, and we don't have we have a lot of interesting, exciting youngsters coming and busting in the scene, from the academy. But that's a lot of I know some of them are not producing, but those are attackers you're losing. It's kind of crazy to force out a 4th in my mind, and I know they had a fallout, especially the whole post-final I don't know if it's true. If it went down that dramatically, where he's like, "You get a new club." He clearly has a bad attitude, but you need a little edge for a player like that. But at the same time, I think Ruben is so. I think he's such a hardo. I think he's even more hardo than the Dutchman.
No, Garnacho has problems. 2 manager. If you by the way, Andy Minton called out Rashford. Problems with every manager. He's had problems with every manager. Then he's got to go. And Garnacho has problems with 2 manager. He's got to go. Now, you don't have to fall out publicly. Sir Alex Ferguson would sell you and get you before you could get him. And I feel like all the players are getting United. And then the culture at United is toxic. So a young player like Garnacho isn't really buying in because, he's not listening to what Johnny Evans has to say at the end of the day, right? So I feel like the bad culture leads to the youngsters kind of acting out. And then they have issues with managers. They have giant egos. And then we're just... if you think about a young Cristiano Ronaldo coming into that locker room, he was kicked in training, Scholes and Ferdinand, put him in his place and let him know, hey, you're good, but this is the way the show runs here. And I feel like we don't have that backbone at Manchester United. So, these young players who are going to have those egos aren't being humbled, aren't being put in a system where they can succeed. And ultimately it's probably the culture at United that's leading to all these fallouts with Rashford and then Garnacho, et cetera. And they kind of bleed on and on and on. Because if everyone's so selfish and everyone's thinking about their contract and not thinking about the club, how could you ever really work as a cohesive unit? And then the cherry on top is the fact that we cannot move them on no matter what.
Ever.
So the pile of dead wood just keeps stacking up at the end of the day. And at United, we need to move on. The rebuild has to happen. We don't have a lot of money because of PSR as it relates to the Glazers and the debt overhang. And INEOS has a lot of work to do. And, let's talk about Mbeumo being the first part of that, sir. At the end of the day, we're chipping up. We're paying more here. Per ESPN, they have sources, probably Ogden. 60 million is the purchase price now, up from 45. Bonus payments taking the deal to the 65 million pound mark. I think this is a fair valuation for the player, given the last 2 seasons, how well he's done for Brentford. But at the end of the day, United are just keep creeping up as far as price goes. And I like to see us try to get some deals. 45 would have been a great deal. 65, fine. I'll take it. Just get him in. But does this mean we can't sign another position that's critical? We're already going to be 130 on the credit card probably. We're doing this in installments most likely with both Brentford and Wolves. How do you feel about the price creeping up on us here and the deal dragging?
I'm more concerned about the deal dragging just because there's so much work to do behind this deal. Like you said, priorities that need to be filled by selling first. This is not a good deal, but it's a deal. It's like you're paying market price. You're not getting a really terrific bargain by any means, but you're paying for a player who's entering his prime. He's Premier League proven. He's got good track record around fitness. He's apparently got a good attitude as well. He's a good ball carrier. Great beard. Like, understandable hairline. I feel for the guy.
A lot of veins.
Dude,
a lot of bulging veins.
There you go.
In his head, screaming.
Him and Cunha have an edge to them. They're really good pressers. They have a high work rate, especially I think Mbeumo has a higher work rate maybe than Cunha. He has some walking stats that we've seen. But I have no real problem with the price because he is Premier League proven. When you pay 73 for Højlund, when you pay 85 for Anthony, you're buying from the fucking Dutch
Stacking
league.
up the shit buys from the past doesn't
I'm just saying, but if you're going to pay for EPL. Fergie used to do that. He would buy top players from the Premier League, and because you know what, Premier League is completely different. And I think that gulf has even accelerated in terms of just the physicality that every team in the top 20 bring. So I am fine with the price. I just wish if we were going to pay what they wanted, I think this is what they wanted 3 weeks ago. We should have just paid it and move on to the next one. I feel like Chelsea does that well. I know they have more cash, but like you just got to be good at buying and selling, and you also can't fucking waste too much time. I know it's only the end of June, but I'm only saying that because we have so much work to do and you have to sell, and these sells are not going to be easy.
Yeah, we come across a little harsh, but at the end of the day, you got to stick and move in the transfer window, especially when you came in 15th. Like United had a horrible season. INEOS needs to be making moves. Like I feel like work harder, in the transfer, work harder and smarter. Like we need like I want loan deals. Yeah, I really want frisky loan deals. I want to be making moves, and I feel like just kind of being like Cunha, and Mbeumo. At the end of the day, we could get this done. He should be on preseason. I'm sure that's what they're targeting here. The 60 million is floating. I imagine we're a day or two, 72 hours away from a medical and a here we go improper. We got to be close. We're on here we go watch here at the American Red Devils.
Without a doubt.
This goes live. Like we're coming into the pod bunker. We're going live. We're talking about it, breaking it down. Already watched a ton of film on him. Really excited for this player and the edge that he has. I mean, we went to Brentford and watched them play against Aston Villa. He was a dog, tracking back, just dangerous going forward, owning that right-hand side. Just you look at his finish, the way he's able to finish. He overperformed his XG. Like he does get the penalties, so his stats are a little boosted in that regard. But he's just a raw talent, sir, pure athlete. And to see him in red, he's gonna look good. And I just feel like Cunha and Mbeumo are a great start, but we need sort of some reinforcements in critical areas to really round out the attack, which would be striker, wing back is important in Amorim's system, and I just feel like more better.
That's always the motto for the American Red Devils during the summer transfer window. I totally agree. He's going to offer so much to this team, and both players offer like just so much physicality and so much goal scoring potential. And that's why, it's a great signing. I wish we'd gotten it a little bit early, but hey, he's going to be there for preseason. I think that's super important. And I think beyond that, there's a lot of players we want to get in, but I think the most important player to get in next, the goalie. The goalie is so important. If they are going to make a goalie move, I think that's even more critical to have for preseason when you go on the tour than, even a striker, because like he's a leader from the back. But this is a great type of signing. He's going to not get penalties, of course, at Manchester United, but he's going to have Bruno Fernandes feeding the ball from behind as well.
Got a comment here from Temskin Deliso. Please, I want Osimhen, Mbeumo, Emi Martínez, Fermin Lopez, Ndidi, Thomas Partey, Vlahovic.
What else you want?
The list goes on. Douglas Luiz. So a lot of great names mentioned here. There was also a rumor, I can't rate the tier source, about Højlund maybe going
to Inter, right?
Yes, Højlund may be leaving. If he's leaving, then you need somebody else. I think Osimhen, I keep Højlund, bring in Osimhen, and then go for, I don't want Thomas Partey. I would take Vlahovic, but there's no way.
But do you want Emi Martínez?
Like, we need a goalie. We need a CDM. At a bare minimum,
6.
I rank. You have to get Mbeumo in. You need a striker. You need a CDM, and you need a goalie. I could get up for next year with that, and we're done. You're
really
not getting
your wing backs. You're not getting your wing backs. I agree. We need them.
You need wing backs because of the system. It plays to Amorim's strengths. Right wing back, left wing back. Dogu, his attacking output, you can question it. So I feel like there's a lot of positions to do, but at a bare minimum, we need a 9 CDM and a goalie. Emi Martínez, I think a goalie would change this team more than anything, because once you have that shaky goalie, teams are all over you in the press. They're all over your defense. Defense is more nervous because they can't pass it back to the goalie. I think it's just a chain reaction. We got to stop there. We need a goalkeeper. I'd almost put that 9 goalkeeper, CDM, wing back is kind of how I go.
You have 9 about the goalkeeper?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's right, because we only have 1 striker, and he performed so poorly last season. I think goalie, I agree with that that assessment, and I agree with that order, but actually in terms of priority of when you want him in, I want the goalie in for the tour even more. The striker can show up late.
Goalie ain't coming for the tour.
No, I need a goalie for the tour, because the goalie is such a leader for the defense. And I like Onana. I like his personality. He has a good temperament, but he makes too many mistakes, and he is shaky, and you can't have that, because it's hard enough defending the EPL. You need a guy. I'm not thrilled about Emi Martínez. I think a lot of that's agent talk, but he's good at claiming the ball, and he is a shithouser. And we're bringing in like a bunch of hit with Cunha, bro, and like we got some shithousery in this team. Whereas I think you go all in for the striker and the goalie, because the CDM, you can run back fucking Casemiro and Ugarte for a year. We're not going to win the EPL. We just need to stay up and maybe push on for like Conference League. But you get the goalie and you get Osimhen, because Osimhen, then you can keep. You don't need a second. You can keep Højlund, and you learn under Osimhen, and Osimhen would be so fucking lights out with those 2 players that we're also bringing in. It would be outrageous.
Osimhen,
that would be one of the best attacks in the EPL.
That would be a proper front 3. That would scare. Like I said, you put that on a team sheet, people are scared. Obviously, injuries, etc. But let us know in the comments, in the chat, what is the top position that you think United should sign next after Mbeumo? We'll get to that when we kind of give you our thoughts. Obviously, there's almost too many positions to count at the moment. Moving on to the next bit of news here on our quick transfer recap. Juventus now throwing their hat in the ring for Jadon Sandwich. We heard that United's got to pay pretty much all those wages. It's going to be a haggle fest till the end of the season. I hope we can get him off the books permanently. But from DiMarzio, who knows Italy very well, Juventus coming out of Italy had contact with Manchester United today regarding Sancho. In the next few hours, Juventus will be in conversations with Sancho's entourage to understand if he's willing to join and understand his financial demands. Guess what? His financial demands is show me the money. He's not looking to
taking a pay cut.
You almost got to admire it. He's just like sticking to the $350K a week.
Yeah. Ride or die.
I
ain't backing off of that. And you can't blame. I mean, hey, he's never going to get that money again. Let's be honest. So I think this is going to be one of those deals where what we're hearing is like literally they'll pay a salary that we owe him out, which is what, 18.5, and that's it. That's basically the deal.
It's so much money.
It's so much money. It's so much money for a player that is not that good.
It's almost like the salary alone doesn't motivate him to play.
It's incredible. it's like 18.5 million pounds.
He's like, wait, I don't have to do anything. I can just like not listen to the coach.
He likes video games.
Go somewhere else, and then the club, Manchester United, will pay me to play somewhere else, wherever I want. Yeah. So he's had a free ride. Worst deal in the history of the club. Has to be.
Probably.
Has to be.
We proceeded for
Gunnar Solskjaer too.
A lot of bad recruitment everywhere. Ted was the worst, but everybody was bad. Everybody was bad. 50 million AWB.
Brutal.
I like AWB.
Well, hey, good to see more people throwing their hat in the ring. Why are people more interested in signing the Sandwich than Rashford? That's one thing. Rashford just kind of like he's a little delusional, looking for Barca to come get him. Barca's in for Nico Williams. And then Sancho's actually getting interest, which is very bizarre.
No, it's a really good point, especially because if you look at last year, and I'm a masochist. I'm gonna rewatch some of the. I watched all the goals from last season. There wasn't that many. It didn't take that long.
All the Sandwich goals? You watch all Jadon Sandwich's goals?
I saw some of the tape, but Rashford had his moments surprisingly throughout last season before he went on loan and scored some nice goals actually at Manchester United. So I think that might be just because he wants to join one of the best clubs in the world, like the top 2, like the top 2 that are Manchester United, and maybe that just speaks to just how kind of out of touch he is because. Barcelona or bust, bro. That's your like. What's wrong with Villa's like? Dude, they're a comer.
Like when, you know, from the girlfriend perspective, he's trying to punch to a club
like
that's
Victoria's Secret model, bro.
Like, know, he's like Villa was a step down. Like that was kind of embarrassing. Even like you look at Rashford. What are you doing? Like you should be doing try to succeed at United.
He's
like
good.
It's
He's
a better
player
club.
than Sancho.
Like it's just so weird where like they've made United the enemy, and I'm sure there's reasons the club has, you know, club's in disarray. Culture probably sucks, but you'd like to see Rashford be part of the solution, not part of the problem. Jadon Sandwich, clearly part of the problem. All right, our next bit of news here. On to Emi Martínez. You mentioned it. This is from Laurie Whitwell. He says, Manchester United have been in touch with Emi Martinez's camp. I do believe United are in contact with quite a few players in different positions. They're assessing the market, what might work. So that's why you get the Nkunku links, for example. Does that mean that they're going to act on it? I don't think so. Certainly not in all cases. So there's smoke from Laurie Whitwell about tons of different stories. And United are apparently doing a lot, but you're not really seeing fire. You're not seeing that smoke increase near any of these deals. The Emi Martínez just hanging out there. Garnacho and Nkunku swap hanging out there. There isn't nothing's picking up steam other than in Mbeumo.
Yeah, I think they're doing the old one at a time. It seems to be, you know, putting out feelers for sure. But so much of this third signing, right? We know who they want second. That's the one that's advanced, and that's one, like you said, we should be, after everything we've seen in this life, you would think we're within here we go within the next 48 hours. You would think.
No.
Yeah,
So
here we
you're
go.
at, like, deal,
not physical, not medical, but like I bet here we go. Okay,
what are we doing?
End of the day Saturday, tomorrow.
Like, also, why can't we chew gum and walk at the same time?
Because they got to sell. They haven't sold anybody. They haven't sold anybody.
But you can anticipate you're going to sell someone. You know, like
anticipate
within 5 or 10 million, you could probably say, if you were to conservatively estimate how much you're going to sell players for, or how much are their wages you're getting off the books, you should be able to like make a budget to be able to, like the Emi Martínez.
How do you budget Rashford's sale? How do you budget like Anthony's
15.
But they want fucking 40.
No, but someone's got to.
Someone's got to be honest with the whole gym.
But Emi Martínez, like I've said on the prior podcast, the full podcast we did, I think you got to take a page out of the Scouse Bastards. They moved off of Karius real quick. You got to move off of Onana. Probably should have done it after the first year. You got to move off of him this year. And Emi Martínez, he's really good in the league. Not the perfect profile, but it's somebody you know who could do the job. And, you know, the United shirt is going to be light on him because he won the World Cup with Argentina. He's a shithouser. He just has that edge. Why not? 40 million. Ship Onana for 15. You know, get him in for 40. I just really think you got keeper's a big priority, and then try to negotiate and haggle with Osimhen to get those wages down. And then you got something going, but we need to get something going real quick.
No, this is the one from a leadership perspective that we need, because he just has such a big role to play in the team. And that's why you want him on tour. That's why we want as many players from an incoming perspective on tour, and so many of the outgoings not available. But like this one, it's all about the price, you know, for me. He's a good stopgap. He's older, you know, even for a goal, he's got plenty of years left, but like, you're not really doing the whole resale value in any consideration. He definitely has some hair on him as well in terms of the stats, but he's really good at the things that Onana is not good at. He's not shaky. He's good at claiming the ball, but he's not great with his feet either. So I don't know how that would work with Ruben Amorim's system. But like you said, a lot of it's just like, will you be a fucking... It's binary in many ways with goalkeeping. And unfortunately, Onana's been a 0 at United, because it's just like you can't have him be so shaky, because it doesn't give confidence to fucking 19 and 18-year-old center backs who need like a real personality behind them and a steady state. So it's all about the fee, bro. It's all about the fee.
What's the top bid? Like what are you? I'd pay 45 for him.
No.
If you can, you need
35.
to make a move.
35.
He's
33 or something. 32?
You have to force Onana out, so you gotta get this guy in. Like the thing is, you gotta make bold moves. Just like over haggling with Mbeumo is not gonna solve your team's problem. If we bring Onana back, like
they probably will.
What are we doing? Like there's no point. Like there's almost no point. Honestly, I like.
Point.
There really
there's no point.
We went to Arsenal at home, and we saw him kick the ball out of the balance 4 times in the first half. Like the goalie is literally like looking at the field, panicked, and just kicking the ball out of bounds. And at that level,
I've never seen it like that.
you cannot start in the league. You cannot start in the league, sir. And then like also the final, that goal that was let in, like he was all over the shop, just too nervy. But we're talking about players returning. They're already coming back, sir. Tell us about it.
They are coming back not too long from now. I think, what is it, the 7th of July, I believe. If you go
yeah, Monday, July 7th.
Yep. So obviously this is dependent on players who didn't feature in the Nations League. Obviously no players featured in the Club World Cup, but I believe a couple of our lads, a couple of the Portuguese guys,
Bruno,
yep. Delo. So they'll get a little bit extra time, but this will be great. Everyone seems like they're having a good time. I'm ready to rock. It's fucking 2 weeks out. And the boys what's it called? Kobe and Lenny were in like Miami, bro. They're at the U Miami, like throwing medicine balls. And I was like, you know what? We need to produce more, Kobe Mainus in the United States because he just looked like he fit right in. So I'm pumped for the tour and I'm pumped to get the season going because I got to wash the bad taste out of last season out of my mouth.
How can we wash the bad taste of last season out of our mouths when they literally made no adjustments to the roster?
They bought 2 players. They're gonna have 2 players.
They bought 1 player. They've bought one.
What are you gonna do?
I'm just saying,
what do you want to do?
Okay, what's the median amount of players inbound that you would expect given 15th? Like we're not talking like we were 7th.
3 weeks into the window,
3 players, maybe go for top 4. It's like we were 15th. It has to be like ship them out, get them in. It has to be like urgency and like we're chewing time and we're gonna leave it like It's just we're gonna leave it late, right? And it's just gonna be.
We're leaving it late because we don't have the money because we're like broke and we need to sell to buy and the sell to buys are complicated as shit because all the players have hair on it and that's the problem. And like we have too much to do. We have way too much work to do. And like you said, I agree, but I think the buys that they can afford, they're going to get in by the 7th. Because I do think they'll get in Mbeumo by the 7th. But other than that, like I think you're right. Like unless you sell somebody and nothing.
Yeah, but didn't Amorim definitively say last year while we were playing horribly that basically it's the players that are the reason why we're horrible? And like wasn't his expectation of like we have a lot of work to do. We need to get like players in, like wasn't that the whole argument for why this system didn't succeed? Like he said it to the press, like
he didn't say quite that directly to the players.
He's pretty blunt about the situation. He was coy in a way, but it was basically like
goals would have gone a long way.
We can't play this system.
Goals would have gone a long way, like in terms of like covering up many of the ills. If we had 2 goal scorers like we're bringing in, but you still have the 9 that you need to fix, and you still have the goal. And those are the 2.
No, but his whole thing was the players were like, he couldn't do it with this.
But I think he was.
He
was just throwing shit at the wall, bro. He was eating shit every day.
It was
like his record was about 38%.
He didn't necessarily say it, but he said everything, like except that to like basically make it clear, like the reason why they were doing. He's like, we are going to suffer a lot, and like it insinuated that it was because this squad is not able to do what he wants, and then to be returning for the preseason and have 1 player, it's a little like I mean we have injuries.
Doom Glow's back on the menu. No,
I'm just like the manager said that. Like so the manager was like basically we need a whole new team.
Yeah, I'm sure he's not thrilled. Wasn't there a story about how
there's nothing behind it, but I would imagine Amorim I would have thought we would have like 3
with a 4 on the way.
Preseason. 3 in before.
I thought we'd have 3.
3 and 5 total, with probably getting rid of 2 and then 2 loans. With the the Bluffeteers.
I thought we'd have 3 by the time we leave for the first preseason game.
Yep. Still have like 3 weeks. There's 3 weeks and some deals to do, but I feel like we need to be a little more decisive in this. Well, there should be some sort of communication about what's going on.
They got to cut their losses too. I think that right now they're like hanging on to these big prices. Thinking they're going to get 40 million with his wages for Marcus Rashford, who only wants to play for 1 team, and probably pissed off Villa. You probably could have done a deal there if you took a little wage cut. But that's the problem, is you're dealing with like problem children who are a pain in the ass to sell, and we have to sell them. And then like at the same time, your best asset that you're gonna sell, you fucking soiled in Garnacho, who's like a top talent. And then what? We're gonna be forced into a position where we sell fucking Garnacho for 45 million to Chelsea, that would be insane. That would be fucking insane.
45 million would not be a bad price.
He's worth more than that. He's given the level.
No, he's worth more than that, but we are not good at extracting like sale value.
I know, but
like 45 million up front would actually like help us get a new goalie.
You definitely get Emi
the
Martínez.
manager sure as shit won't play Garnacho, so like, what's the point of keeping him? You know, no matter how good he is,
he's back in the squad, bro.
Ruben Amorim will never play him, and it's over, and he's got to go, right? Like, and I think that's the right call. You put on that jersey, that tells you a lot about a player, and you like, who wants to buy that player?
I mean, depends on the club, depends on the fee, but
But do you get what I mean? Like a player that's gonna like put that out there, like fuck with the club, like be unprofessional. Like at a certain, I liked Garnacho on the field and I had hopes for him, but like you do that, that's like a little.
No, he stuck it out. He stuck. He went full. He thinks he's Ronaldo. You know, he kind of thinks he's like got the gravitas to do whatever the fuck he wants and get away with it. And he's still got a lot to prove. He's a very talented player, but Ronaldo is Ronaldo for a reason because he worked his fucking ass off, right? And he's a talented player, but he's probably the hardest working player in the game. Is Cristiano Ronaldo? I would argue. You know, just like driven, and that's what it takes to be a top player. And you know, so. He's got a wake-up call to come, but he's the kind of player that you got to be able to sell to Real Madrid for like $80 million someday instead of what? Who we sell him to? Fucking Napoli? You know? Like, crazy.
Well, let's hope that our fortunes turn soon. And Mbeumo, here we go, would certainly lift spirits. Maybe more concrete links to a top striker would lift spirits. I feel like after your 15th, maybe we're like a little... on the pessimistic side and just need more red meat because it was such a rough year. Regardless, let's hope INEOS steps up to the plate, can wheel and deal, and get some quality players in because we need to really make a run next year. We can't be none of this half measure shit. We need to be going after next season full on. Sir, before we wrap up the live stream, any other points on United? Any other vibes? How are we feeling?
No, I'm feeling not optimistic, but I'm feeling hopeful. I'm feeling hopeful because I like the players, you know, number one and number two they were bringing in. I am worried about the number of sales. I do think the team, you know, I'm talking about front office, they're not scrappy enough. Like, you know, even like the Kepa deal. Didn't fucking Arsenal just buy Kepa for $5 million? He's not a great player, but he's probably better than Deer and Onana, and definitely better than Deer. So you just need you got to just freshen it up sometimes and try something else. He's been in the league. I know he's shaky bottom too, but he was a 75 million pound goalkeeper. So we have to be willing to like roll the dice a little bit. And I think they're a little too slow, too methodical, or they're just too careful. Probably too careful is the word.
Ruben Amorim, when he was appointed the coach of this club, was definitely told that he's going to get players.
Oh yeah.
He was definitely told when he signed up, like, this team is like melting down. He didn't want to come when he came. He came and he was told he would be able to sign players, right? And how do you think he feels right now? That's all I'm saying. Is like INEOS said there's no point in hiring Ruben Amorim, who's one of the top young managers, up-and-coming managers in Europe, to play this system if you're not going to back him to the hilt. To the tune of like however many million he needs, or even get frisky with the loans. But he needs players for this system. You should not have appointed him if you couldn't deliver. And INEOS needs to deliver. And that is what Amorim needs to have a run at next season. I want him to have a run because it was unfair. Like he balled the final, all these things, but it was unfair because he did not have his guys to play the way he wanted. And we would be insane to run it back and not give him those guys. And that's just kind of like the feeling at the moment. Cunha and Mbeumo get me really excited. I think they can solve a lot in the attack from a goals perspective, but we definitely need a number 9. You get Osimhen in there and we're talking different days. But look, please subscribe to the American Red Devils. We're going to be going live more, talking about all the transfer news this summer. Hit the subscribe button, comment below. If you hate our takes, let us know. We can take it. We love talking about this club and really hope that we're going to be making a big run in 25-26. I don't know what big means, maybe top 10, but we'll
let's break the top half of the table. INEOS, it's like you said, it's all eyes on INEOS. They have made a lot of mistakes thus far. They need to get this summer transfer window right. They don't need to make all the moves, right? They're not going to get the wingbacks this window, but they need to get a striker in and they need to get a goalkeeper in. If you do that, we could, we're not talking anything big, but like top half of the table should be within reach. Jesus
oh my
Christ.
God.
How
Let's
the mighty
go.
have fallen.
Top half, baby.
Top
Let's
half.
go. Top half. We're going to end on that note. We'll see you in the next video.